Tuesday morning, right here on The Source, WOCA.
All right, 23 minutes before 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Monday morning. As we get closer and closer to the primaries, we are having an opportunity to introduce you and speak to some of the candidates. Bruce Nathan is on the phone. He's a pediatric therapist, a physical therapist, a U.S. Army reservist. I think I read that he is a veteran as well, and a Republican candidate for governor for the state of Florida. And I went to his website. I'm going to tell you this, and we'll tell you again at the end. BruceNathan2018.com, and he has an offer where you can download his book for free. It's got a biography about himself, and I just wanted to read you one paragraph from it. It says, we the people, the beginning of the United States Constitution, in order to form a more perfect union. All by itself, that great big statement is no longer here. People do not get to run the government. It is the politicians that do. And the politicians are Democrats and Republicans and do not form a more perfect union. That's part of what he wrote. And I mention that because if you notice in his biography, politician is not one of the list of things. He's a doctor, a therapist. Bruce Nathan, it's an honor to have you on our show. Good morning, sir.
Well, Larry, thank you so much for that very nice introduction. I have to smile because you don't remember everything you wrote down in the past sometimes, but that was definitely one of them that I felt so about so passionately that I wanted to make sure I had that in there. So yes, that's what it's all about for me.
That is awesome, and I can tell you that this listenership, the listeners to this radio, I would guess most talk shows have listeners that are very, very strongly committed to those principles, and they're probably just as frustrated as that sentence expresses.
Well, we all are, and it's just an amazing thing, and even in the most recent moments here, where there's a debate coming up on Fox News, and you're only the powers that be are only allowing DeSantis and Putnam to be on that national debate stage because they decided, Fox News and the Republican Party said, well, these are the only people we want to have up there. These are the only people we want to show you.
That is crazy.
That's not the way it's supposed to be.
Absolutely.
That is crazy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I think it is a constant source of frustration for us as voters to know that there are some really qualified candidates who, for one reason or another, don't get involved in the debates. It doesn't make any sense to any of us.
And it was really the only way for us to show who we are is by putting us next to the other guys. That's how we got to know Donald Trump so well. He started off very low on the poll in debates. All of a sudden, his first debate, he was shot up like a rocket. And then after that, it was basically kept on going from there. So it's a real shame way we have to sit by and watch all this happen. So there are, at this moment in time, as it happened on Friday, as it's happening today, there's actually lawyers that are swirling around this to try and take a shot at Fox News to see if we can actually cause a possible injunction into the debate, because it's just they're showing exactly what we're against, and so we have to try and see what we can do. So I'm letting the team and the campaign handle that. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, well, we just keep on going. I never give up. That's one of my things, one of my creeds, mottos. I keep on going because you have to. Because as regular people, we need regular people to get into this seat, so that because we feel what the people feel. Those people that are running, those high-level people with all their money, they have no idea what we go through on a day-to-day basis. They never were here, and they never will be here. So that's the whole idea. Yeah. So, and I've got if people go to my website, BruceNathan2018.com, they'll see that I've got solutions to the problems that I can actually implement on some of them on day one, some of them without legislature, because it goes directly under the governor's office. And these are things that have been sitting there for so long that everybody says to me, oh, you'll never be able to change that. I said, oh, yeah, you watch. Watch what happens when I get into office, because I'll change some of these things day one, and then some other things we have to put through legislature by law, but I will make sure that they get put through legislature. I will make sure that the people's voices are heard.
Yeah.
And that's what has to happen.
Yeah. I think a good legislator makes good legislation, but a good leader not only makes good legislation, but also leads us all as people in ways that maybe legislation doesn't necessarily have to take place. For example, the Juneteenth thing. I was looking at some of your talking points on the radio. We did a huge segment dedicated to Juneteenth because of what it says about us, and our reluctance to include everybody in on this whole all men are created equal concept. I don't know that needs a law because there's already a law in place. But what it needs is a good leader who says, come on, knock it off, stop treating each other with disrespect.
And that is so true. And but it's been ongoing for so long.
Yes.
And even though, we had Abraham Lincoln put forward this Emancipation Proclamation, this great day that happened, nobody even seems to care about it. And listen, the persecution of mankind has gone on for thousands of years.
Absolutely.
The black people had it, but it goes back to the Jews in Egypt and
right.
slavery back then.
Right.
So that's where it begins. And who do they think they are under God, thinking that they can make themselves over another human being? That should never happen. We are created equal, and that's what God wanted. That's who we are, and that needs to be implemented at the governmental level. So, and that's why do you think that's why Abraham Lincoln brought it in?
No question about what you're saying. Other countries need to catch up. I'm not saying all other countries, but we have countries in this world, as you know, that clearly need some legislation to fix some of those problems. In this country, we've had the legislation since the Emancipation Proclamation, but one of the problems is the leadership hasn't been there to kind of say, we have these rules. Would you stop undermining this beautiful concept that we're all created equal? That's what this country's about. Let's start living it. I'll tell you something, Bruce, that I have observed. I think the younger people are finally starting to behave that way. Maybe not all of them, but it seems like we work at the mall, and I look out the window all the time, and I see it all the time. I don't see the great racial divide that the news media wants us to believe.
Right. I get it. It's not. It's actually under Bush, George W. Bush, it was getting better. I believe that we were starting to really see our way clear of that racial divide. I felt better, but but once Obama came in, I was like, wow, what happened? We pulled ourselves back apart again, and in a most amazing way, and that's the reason why I had to jump in and run. I ran. Well, if you went back a little bit, I ran, because I had to get my feet wet first as a no-party affiliate for the U.S. Senate, because I didn't like Murphy for sure, and Rubio was absolutely just a liar. So for me, it was not about those people or the party, and it never is. It's about the people, we the people. So these parties have torn us apart more than anything else. So I jumped in as a no-party affiliate, ran. I became number one, only spending $17,000. I was number one in all the 5 NPAs that ran, who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. One spent $1 million, and better than Rubio and Murphy, who spent $40 million. So that's what got me into this, to say I knew I wasn't going to make it there because no media is going to cover you as an NPA. No party affiliate. But what happens is I get the experience of running the state and knowing what I'm supposed to do next. That's why I'm here running for governor, and that's why I'm as far as I am now. I'm third after DeSantis. Putnam's number one, DeSantis number two. I'm number 3 in the polls. I came in at a 13%. And that's one of the reasons I should be in the debate, because there was a 10% threshold, and so all of a sudden they said, "No, we're not going to have this guy in. He's gonna get in there. He's gonna really shake it up." So that's where it is. I've got a lot of passion for what I do because I've been into thousands of homes. I've seen thousands of people. I know what people want. Each home that you go into, it's got a different DNA pattern, just like us are humans. You'll never walk into 2 homes, Larry, that are the same houses, even if they're cookie cutter right down the block. The inside of that home is so internally different, and just like people are, and that's what needs to get brought back to the leadership of government.
I love that analogy. Bruce Nathan, it's an honor to have you on our show. For the listeners, be an informed voter. Yeah, I don't need to tell this listening audience. These people know more than I'll ever know about politics and about what it takes to make a great nation. But Bruce's website is brucenathan2018.com, brucenathan2018.com. He has on his site a free download of a book that you wrote about yourself, right? It's a biography?
Absolutely, that's what it is.
I guess
because people had to know.
Autobiography.
Yeah, what I did was autobiography, yes, because they need to know who I am and what's happened good and bad in my life. So when the media decides to jump all over me for, this guy, what happened to him in his life during his bad divorce and stuff like that, because it happens to all of us in some capacity or another.
Yeah.
And then, this way I put it in there, I put it out, and then if they say, well, this happens here, I said, no, if it's not on page 23 for whatever, then it's not true. Has to come out of my mouth to be true, or has to be in that book to be true. So that's the way I wanted to make sure everybody knew it. I wanted them to know the truth about a real human being who's here. So that's why. And then when you said in the beginning, not a politician, and people still say you're a politician, I said, no, I'm politically active. That's all I am. I'm politically active. I could never be a politician, because that to me is like the car salesman that you never want to be too. So
yeah, right.
you never want to be called a car salesman. People that go sell cars, they say, no, I sell automobiles. I'm not a car salesman. So, it's just that connotation of who you are. You don't want to be labeled like that, because that's become a really bad label. So,
I hope you are.
Party.
I hope you're included in the debates. I think our listenership needs, and the constituency of the whole state needs to hear what you have to say. It only seems fair. It just does not seem fair to be blocking out somebody who is getting the attention of so many people. Bruce Nathan, thank you for being on the air with us today. We'll put this up as a podcast. It's been live as you spoke, but it'll be a recorded podcast, and Robin will share the link with you or whoever she's been working with. Okay.
I so appreciate it. And Larry, thank you so much for having me on. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Bruce. We'll be right back.